All right, so now we're going to talk about on-ramp session number 2. So this is a predominantly gymnastics focused session. We do a little bit of work with kettlebells, and our workout today is rounds for time. We're going to start by talking about the warm-up here. So doing a lat stretch and then a little bit of rowing work. So Emily, you want to start us off with the lat stretch?
Sure. So I typically go for a purple band in a medium thickness. We loop it into the rack just as you usually would. I'll go on this side. We go wrist through the back like this so that you can just kind of grab it comfortably from the front. We're going to step back from the rack, and you should be demoing this kind of while they watch so that they can see it from you first. We're going to step back until there's some good tension on that band, and I like to make sure that my butt is like the farthest part behind me so that my chest can kind of lean down forward. I'm not pulling down on this band. You're letting that band pull your arm through. And then if you want a little bit more of a stretch, I find that turning my chest away from the band and kind of dropping my shoulder down really gets the stretch here. So we're trying to find a stretch in your lat, which is your nice big pulling muscle on the side. It should be fairly comfortable too. So make sure that they are comfortable in this position. And then while they're sitting here is when you can kind of chat about, how their body's feeling, how they found last session, kind of your 5-minute intro chat with them to kind of get them back comfortable in the gym. That's a good thing to also mention kind of in the beginning of session 2 is how their body responded to session 1, especially if they're new. We get a lot of leg soreness reviews from session 1 because it's a lot of squatting. So they might be having some leg soreness, so you can chat about that a little bit as well.
Yeah, letting them know it's normal,
yes.
It's part of the process, and helping them to distinguish between I'm sore, that was a good workout, and I'm sore, maybe I hurt something.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people don't have that knowledge, and so if we can educate them on those differences, it can be helpful.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And if there's any other pain points they're having, you can replace that lat stretch with a different stretch if there's something that's bothering them. After we have our stretch, we're going to talk about the rowing machines. So this is a pretty important movement to learn. But before we even talk about the movement, I like to teach them about, again, kind of leading into the autonomy thing, getting them self-sufficient for class, is how to set up their rower. So when they come in, I have it set up just like this. I got 2 rowers side by side, one for me and one for the person, and I have them folded up. So this is how the rowers would be when they show up for class. The screen is folded down and the handle is up in the catch. So I would teach them the first thing you need to do is we pull the screen down and we pull the handle down as well. So it goes into the little holder thing. And then I would have them do it. They would pull their screen down and they would pull their handle down. And so now it's ready to use. When they're finished class for the day, they would simply fold the screen and put the handle back up. And then that shows the rower is finished. I give them a little tour of the rower. So we have the screen up here. We've got some buttons down the side. We've got some buttons on the front. This is how you would change the display and the units. So we really only row in either meters or in calories. This is the screen we tend to use because it's got nice big numbers. If they want a different screen, they can just click the display button and they can cycle through. I think there's 5. They can just cycle through the displays. So this is the main one we use. Maybe they want lots of numbers. This has got lots more details on it. Maybe they want a graph. Maybe they want a pace boat. Maybe they want a different type of graph, or just kind of the main screen. This is the one we usually use. And the same thing with the units. There's 5 different units, 4 or 5 units, and they can just cycle through until they find the one they want. Here's the calories, and here's the meters. That's generally the 2 that we would use. This number up here is going to be the total time elapsed on the rower. This big one is your pace. So this is going to refresh every single pull, and it'll reflect kind of what pace you're using. And then this is your meters or your calories or whatever. The other thing I like to show them is the damper. This is the kind of slider thing on the side. 10 with it all the way up to the top here, that's going to be the maximum resistance. This is really good for sprinting and for short, hard rows. If we bring it down to the bottom, that's going to be your least amount of resistance. We never really want to be all the way at 1. I'd say the lowest we sit is maybe 2 or 3. And that's a bit better suited for the longer distance rows, 1, 2, 3 kilometers. But mostly for class, we put it 5, 6. The middle is usually the sweet spot. And then the last kind of adjustment they may need to make is the foot holders. These are on the smallest setting right now, and if you put your foot in, you'll see it's very, very small. Typically 4 or 5 is where most people will be, but they're welcome to adjust that if they need to. And I'll show you how you would go about choosing your foot holder size. So we've got these straps are open like this. We get those feet inside. Your heels are down in the little holders, and you'd pull the straps to tighten them down. Now we want this strap to be right around the break at your toes where your shoes bend. So this looks pretty good for me, but I'll show you what it looks like if I had it way too small. If I have it all the way up on one, I'm gonna put my foot in there. If I get my foot in here, the strap is sitting like back on my arch. That's way, I can't even get in very much. That's way, way too small for me because the break of my foot is up here. So that's where you want that strap to sit, and that's just for comfort reasons, so you can get the most bang for your buck out of your stroke. Their feet go in like that. We pull the straps, and now they're ready to do their rowing. So as far as teaching the row stroke, I'll have Sam put the camera down. He can come and join me over here so you can see from the side. Now, I like to have the two rowers set up side by side so that I can row while the person is rowing as well. And that I just found the most amount of success when teaching rather than them sitting and you standing and trying to tell them what to do. I think it just works a little bit better if they can see you side by side. So, Sam, have you ever used a rowing machine before? Have you ever seen one of these?
Once or twice.
Once or twice, all right. So I'm just going to take you through kind of the basic way we do our pulls. Now, the rowing machine, it's a little bit different from the bike. There's a little bit more technique required to make it happen. Now, the name of the game here is we want nice long pulls. We want long pulls forward and back with lots of power on the way out and then a controlled recovery back in. We don't want it to be frantic where we're going super, super fast. It's a strong pull to the back and then recover to the front. And the way this is going to work, you're going to hold on to that rower. We're going to bend forward, but not slouch the shoulders. So we've got our chest kind of pushed forward here. Arms are fully extended. Feet are down on the little holders. Now, the first thing that needs to happen is you're going to push off with your feet, and your butt is going to go back first. Once you start to extend those legs, you're going to start leaning back. Chest comes behind your hips, and then you finish off with a strong row right into the middle of your chest, right in your sternum. We don't want to row down to your hips or up to your neck. It's just not very efficient. We want to keep that chain super flat, and that goes right to your sternum. Then we go reverse on the way back in. Arms go first. Then we start to bend the knees. Shoulders come back in front of the hips. And we finish in that nice catch position. We're leaned forward again. Arms are extended. Let's go again. Feet first. Lean back. Finish with a pull. Arms, lean, and bend the knees. And from there, we just kind of gradually increase the pace. I try to get them to match the pace that I'm going at. Because a lot of the times people they'll go like super fast right out of the gate. We want to emphasize the strong pull and then recover. Strong pull and recover. And so we do this for like 2 minutes or so until it's feeling pretty normal. If there's any holes in the technique, then we can pause and kind of review them. If they're super advanced and they know how to row and they kind of knock it out of the park on the first shot, we can get into some more picky specifics. So Sam brings his camera around over here again. This is for the advanced athletes among us. If you go through the displays and you pull up the graph that has the kilogram pound metrics on the side here, what this is going to do is it's going to plot your efficiency in the stroke. And again, this is for kind of the more advanced athletes that know what they're doing. I'll try my best to give you some examples here of a good graph. We want it to be a smooth curve with lots of area underneath. There we go. That's not too bad. So that's kind of what we're aiming for as far as shape goes, is a smooth curve, and that'll show the efficiency. You might see some like wobbles and some bumps or maybe like some sharp increases or decreases. That's just showing that there's some inefficiencies going on. So just kind of pick apart the row stroke, make sure it looks nice and efficient, and that graph can reflect how efficient they're being on their pulls.
Awesome. Anything else?
I don't think so. I think that's it.